speaking at the KMS banquet has a number of points in common with raising kids, but two come to mind right away. Neither comes with an instruction manual, and for both, one can spend more than one sleepless night worrying about what to say and how to say it. About the time the rabbi and Saul came to ask us to be the honorees, it was the 30th yahrzeit for my father, and I recall that it was during his shiva that Kent Mill first came to my attention, as we were not yet living here. While I had minimal prior interactions with the community, Marty was already teaching at the Hebrew Academy, and our girls went to school there. The various rabbis who first led KMS came to our house during the shiva, along with others, and I remember thinking that the chesed they demonstrated by coming. Further, during the next several years, we were frequently invited to spend Shabbat in Kent Mill, to celebrate smachot for Marty's students, first at Shomrei Emunah, and then at KMS after it was formed. Again, I was struck by how welcoming people were. Despite this, when we did move to Kent Mill and join KMS, I remember feeling that I was still an outsider, as I barely recognized faces, much less knew people's names. After showing up a few times at the start of davening, I was asked to daven before the Amud, and after some initial hesitation, I agreed. Over the years, I was fortunate that KMS has had the attitude of actively reaching out to invite people to participate, and I found myself saying yes, not only to davening, but then to serving on shul committees, and most recently, driving for Bikur Cholim. Perhaps it's true that 90% of success is just showing up and saying yes when asked. Anything I have done for the shul and the community over the years is in some way repayment, I hope, for that initial chesed and for being made to feel welcome. I'm honored that the shul feels I've made a contribution in some small way.
When we joined KMS was still in the house. Our daughter Kira had her bat mitzvah in the house, and it felt like she was one of the first to have one there. There was certainly no room to invite many guests from outside the community. The culture was one of everyone doing everything. We would prepare kiddush in the garden and move loaded tables into the shul room when davening was over, because that's what we needed to do. As we stand here this evening and look out at all of you, we never would have imagined that KMS would become what it is today. When I look across our shul on Shabbat, or travel across the United States and see many people I have educated over the years, people who have grown to positions of leadership in the Jewish educational community and the Jewish community at large, then I am filled with a spirit of optimism and gratitude to Hashem that He let me use what little talent I have in such a productive way. Like Michael recalls how his father was a founder of Dovrevel Yeshiva, I am reminded of how my parents were involved in our shul growing up. My mother was president of the sisterhood, my father was president of the men's club. My parents were true examples of communal involvement. We both have learned from the examples of our parents that you get more out of doing for others than by just sitting by the sidelines, and hope with our actions we have set an example for our children and our grandchildren, and for all of you. We are grateful to the shul for choosing to recognize our contributions, and lastly, we want to thank the dinner chairs, the butlers and the Goldbergs, and all the people who worked on this beautiful banquet for making this a particularly memorable evening. Thank you so much.